So let's hop straight into it. If you have a look on the left-hand side here, you can see all these channels. Now, it's nothing fancy. I think a lot of people think that when I talk about collecting data in my Discord, I make it look pretty. It doesn't bother me. I'm there to collect the data, and then the most important thing is to put in the time to analyze it. Now, before we can even do that, I just want to start by saying that this is back in 2023. So I used to trade Forex, as you can see, GBP USD, and I also used to trade the NASDAQ in the New York session. Now, these are different days, right? Different days, passing phase one, and then obviously would have failed phase two. Like, this is the learning phase. This is how I used to do it. I used to do a rate of sell side, a market structure shift, and a return to a fair value gap. And that's how I used to trade. I used to aim for a 1 to 1.5 and a 1 to 2. Now, as time went on, then I started looking at the 2022 mentorship. And these are some of my summaries into the concepts that I wanted to, I guess, grasp a little bit further. Now, a lot of people watch my videos. You might watch this video or the previous educational videos, and that's great. Like, hopefully you guys can learn something from these videos and you can implement it yourself. But just like I did here, you create a category, you just go at the top here, you select create category. That'll actually create this top section, and then you can create the channel, and that'll create these subcategories, if that makes sense. And essentially, these are just concepts that I learned from ICT's mentorship. I actually typed notes out first on a Word document, and then I summarized them further. Now, I was a bit of a nerd at school, right? I was a bit of a nerd in, the HSC and here in Australia, or whatever you call it, wherever you're from, right, in year 12. And I found that for me, when I was studying any concepts in school, the best way to do it, and same with data collecting for trading, was to, yes, get a big picture first, and then narrow that down, summarize, because each time you're forcing yourself to synthesize that information and to really pick the core important points. You're not just writing everything ICT says or everything I say and then going, oh yeah, whatever, I'll leave that. No, you're picking the key points, and then I'm choosing my own examples on the charts of these things happening that ICT is talking about. Does that make sense? And you can see here, I don't know even what I'm doing here. I'm kind of marking out the price very weird. Buy side liquidity, high and low. I'm trying to learn optimal trade entry. I'm trying to learn premium and discount. I'm trying to learn order blocks. I've even got a recording here of me talking through price action. So you can see I don't get it right from the start. I don't think that's a correct markup, because what should happen is this 0 point should be down here in reality. So you live and you learn, right? So I was there once. This is back in, 3rd of September 2023. And you all have to start from somewhere, right? So if you're watching this video and you don't feel like you're succeeding or progressing, you will progress, because this is what it used to look like back for me in 2023. Now, these are all the key concepts, and some of these we actually have talked about in this bootcamp. Some of these I no longer use. Like, I no longer use breaker blocks. I no longer use mitigation blocks. I don't care about them. Who cares? Standard deviation projections, I don't use them anymore. Who cares? Doesn't apply to my model, so who cares? Now, let's just go to one of these things, like for example, multi-time frame lineup. Right, look what I'm marking out here. I'm marking out different things. I'm marking out what price has done, and I'm seeing how different time frames align. So notice how I'm not doing the bare minimum. When I'm collecting data like this, I'm collecting data on PD arrays. Right, and look at this. This is from ICT's video, right? Collecting data on PD arrays, and then I'm trying to find examples in my own chart. That is applying the information. You're not just watching his video or watching my video and then saying, yep, that's collecting data. The same would apply with you simply, taking a screenshot of your trade. Say you took a trade, say for example, this was a trade, you took a short somewhere, and then you put it away in a journal. That doesn't matter. You could have the fanciest looking journal. It really does not matter. Fancy does not equate to good data collection, because like any scientist, like any data collector, you've got to be an analyst as well. You've got to analyze the data and apply the data. So all these concepts, I studied these, right? I studied these mitigation blocks. I gave my overall thoughts. You can see what I've kind of done here. Inverse fair value gaps. This is the building blocks of how I've kind of built my analysis, and that's a summary of that. This is some other stuff that I collected data on. So really, when I collected data and when I started, writing things out, I simply charted things like this, and I used to annotate the charts like that, right? Really annotate the charts and try to narrate what price was doing. A lot of these concepts, a lot of these things I still believe. And yes, I didn't negate the bad days, bad trading days. Look, I used to discuss bad trading days, different weird conditions that I didn't really like. You can see how choppy that price action is, right? And these are the things that you need to do too, right? You need to review every week. You need to, take notes, right? You need to actually write on your chart and come up with theories and propositions and reasons for why the market might do certain things. You can see all these recorded videos, right? Those recorded videos are me talking through price as if I actually know what I'm talking about. But at that point in time, I really didn't. I really did not. So these are some things to explore in terms of data collection. And just to show you guys, like we're getting towards the end of the bootcamp, but I actually started just like you guys. If you're struggling, unprofitable, unable to pass accounts, unable to get payouts, and now I'm at the point where I can get consistent payouts, and you can too. You can too. So you have to start from somewhere. But this is the type of work, in my belief, in my opinion, that you need to put in. All these videos recorded, right? Talking through price action, different patterns that are used to see in the market, right? Reviewing funded accounts. These obviously were failed, 50Ks, 100Ks. All these accounts, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all failed. Failed. But failure is a good thing when it's within your means. And that is an important point, right? Failing is good because you learn lessons and then eventually you become sick of it to a degree where you go, I need to change what I'm doing. And that is when the switch, something clicks, right? So have a look at this. You can kind of see what that account is, 25K account, 50K account, and even here you can see the progression. Here's some of the stuff from the ICT mentorship too. And I've always used the 15-minute liquidity fair value gap strat. I've always done that. I've always noticed that the 15-minute fair value gap acts as some kind of support or resistance always. Look at this. This strategy involves buy side or sell side liquidity being taken out, followed by tapping or filling a 15-minute fair value gap. And then a reversal play or reversal pattern plays out. But this is not what ICT has said directly. He'll talk about a bunch of different things, right? In the one video, which is fine. What you have to do with any video is you have to synthesize that and you have to come up with your own conclusions. You have to come up with your own, I guess, thoughts as to what kind of strategy you want to use. And then you've got to collect data like this. Look at this, optimal trade entry, learning how these things work. And this is something that I talk about now, price pulling back, low resistance, that I was still doing overall. Right, so I was learning this, and you can see on the corner here, right? You've got the ICT 2022 mentorship. So this is back on my iPad, and you can see all these things here. I took some notes from the 2023, right? Took some notes from that. But this is how I collected data, right? So I collected data by taking screenshots, by taking videos, by looking for patterns. But there's a lot here. There is a lot here, guys. It's not just as simple as taking a screenshot and moving on. And back testing, what do we got here? Did a bit of back testing. It's really forward testing, but I'm just looking back at the charts. And even some things like this, right? Even some things like this. This here, I believe, is the Asian session, right? This kind of play I'll be doing now too, but my viewpoint of why the market's doing certain things has changed. That's accumulation, manipulation, distribution, pull back into the range, probably SMT at the lows, and then there's a macro. I still understood these things. Even here, we've got low resistance, the macro drops back down. So this will show you that anything can work in any session for any pair, right? And these are some other concepts here too. So I'll try to come up with, some confluences or confirmations that made things A+. And that's what you'll see here. Look, what's an A+ sweep? What's an A+ market structure shift? What's an A+ fair value gap? But who is really doing this? If you're doing this, you're on the right track. If you're really thinking this deep, you're on the right track. Trading rewards people who put in the work into the right things. And then once you've learned things and you've got a good understanding of it, then it rewards people who accept probability and accept that not every trade is going to be a winning trade. So this is a bit of a mixed video. A few things we're talking about today, wrapping things up. Different things like this, fake market structure shifts, a true market structure shifts. This, right? I learned back, not from Dodgy, not from anyone else, that wicks were quite good draws on liquidity. I just noticed that they like to go towards wicks. Quite interesting, right? And so I used to see price do that too. I used to see price do this as well. And I talk about this in my premium community and also on the Discord too. I used to see price accumulate and then expand. Accumulate and then expand. And that is how I started trading the Power 3 macro and all this other stuff that I do. It's just a price structure pattern, right? I was interested in looking at patterns, interested in looking at what combinations of patterns actually worked. And this is what I'm talking about in my previous post. If you're not in the free community, I made a post the other day. I got a nice comment on my YouTube video, really good one. And one of my points I made there is that The market rewards people who are curious and have desire to learn, desire to improve. The market does not reward people who do the bare minimum. It doesn't. Because if everyone did the bare minimum, then why wouldn't everyone be profitable? And that applies to both learning the strategy, learning how the market moves and structure, but also learning yourself. If you do the bare minimum in anything in life, you're going to get average results, right? So I wanted to, discuss a little bit about this, and then also go over here, right? I've got heaps of channels. But anyway, this stuff here, right? These are all my models that I teach now in the premium community and that I trade myself. And some things I've left in the dust. Some things I've kept. Some things I've still use, other things I don't, right? So it's just a bunch of things that you've got to, I guess, study, and you've got to, and I've already got it all for free on YouTube. So if you want to join the free community, do that. If you want to, watch me live on Zoom 3 days a week during London session and talk to me on message and we can work with a plan, then join the premium. That's fine, right? I'm not encouraging you to do that. Do whatever works for you. But there is enough online there that I've posted, other people have posted, that you can put in the work yourself and you can get results. But for people that want to work one-on-one, the people that want to, work with me, message me, work on a plan, refine a model, maybe get some homework and watch how I do it live, how I talk through the markets, then yes, the premium is for you. But you don't have to do that, right? And a lot of people, many people are putting the work themselves and they've succeeded themselves. So I really wanted to discuss that. I really wanted to talk about those points as we wrap up this boot camp. It's a bit of a weirder video today, a bit of a stranger one. But I wanted to talk about a few things there in terms of how to collect data, the work that's required to be put in. And just, I think a lot of people just underestimate that. A lot of people might see me or see other people and go, oh, well, they must have just had it easy, or they must have just done this or that. But no, like, you saw how the analysis was. You saw how poor the analysis was, how poor my understanding of market structure and market movements were. And the only thing that helped me is time on the charts, like a lot of chart time, a lot of chart experience. And then after that, accepting probabilities and realizing that I won't always be right. I won't always be right, because a lot of people, they see a market, they, see something that works for a couple of days, and then they see something that doesn't work for a couple more days and they think it's the end of the world. And I'm not going to name any names, but you'll know who you are from my Discord. There's a guy on my Discord, or two actually, and their mindsets are really, really strong. So if you're watching this, you know who you are. They accept probability. And they're in my premium community. They accept probability. They accept that trading is not always going to work out. That planning is better than trying to react in the moment. You got to plan and then react. And that's a mature way to think about things. Maybe it's a maturity level in the brain by some people, and some people don't have that. I mean, I'm only young myself, but everyone's got different life experiences. But the mindset difference, the mindset shift between those who are profitable and those who don't succeed is crazy. It's crazy, and I see it myself from people I've talked to, from people I see on social media, even in myself from switching to, profitability from unprofitability. It's that shift in mindset. It's not even the strategy. The data collection gives you confidence to actually consistently apply your edge. But even if you have data collected, if you don't make that choice to improve, if you don't make that choice to actually do something, if you don't make that choice to actually respect your edge, that will also dampen or blunt your success or the ability to improve in the market. I think it's quite an important thing. So we're going to leave it there for today, guys. A bit of a ramble there. I hope you got something from this video about how I collected data, the amount of work that I put in, the types of data collection that I did, the fact that it's not that fancy, but it was more about applying information, reviewing that information, coming up with A+ models, coming up with strategies myself. No one came up with that for me. No one. All those things were my own work. Yes, using ICT's concepts, but ICT did not tell me, hey, Ruben, look for price to do this in a macro, this, and that's an A+ setup. No, that A+ checklist that I've given you guys for free in the free community, that is my contribution to the community for you guys, but that is from my own understanding of the market, and you guys can do exactly the same thing. You can use what I've done, but you might find other little bits and pieces. You might find little things that you want to add or remove, and that is what you should be doing. Because every single trader is an individual. Every single trader has a different psychology. Every single trader has a different risk appetite. And that is the beauty of trading. Don't see it as a negative. Don't see it as, oh, Ruben does this, so I got to do this. ICT does that, so I got to do that. This trader does that and he makes money, so I got to do that. No, you have to do what works for you. And you only know what works for you if you fail. and we'll leave it at that. Until next time, guys, have a great weekend, and we'll talk very soon. Peace out, all the best.